Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel for CraftworldEldar.com. I'm Brent, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what's ahead for CraftworldEldar.com and the YouTube channel in 2022 and also for the rest of 2021. For those of you who would prefer to read this, you can head over to my blog and there's a text-based version of this. I will link it in the video description. Ever since the official GW Advent calendar started showing us daily images of what are almost certainly new Craftworlds models, autarchs everywhere have been speculating about the details of the next big release. So let me start by being clear about one thing. At this point, I don't know any more about the new codex than do the busy horse dentists who are so often mentioned on my channel. I don't have an uncle who works at Games Workshop. I don't have spooky powers that let me look into the sands of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, although somebody did recently refer to me as Farseer in some video comments, and that delighted me. What I do have is a well-founded optimism that GW would not be teasing us with new Craftworlds models unless the release was right around the corner. Under the circumstances, I think it is reasonable to assume that we are going to see a major overhaul of the whole faction very early in 2022, perhaps the most comprehensive update that Craftworlds have had since 3rd edition, and it is going to be glorious. In this post, I am going to run you through what you can expect to see and also not see on this channel and also on my website leading up to, during, and after that release. Now, exactly how this plays out will depend on whether somebody at GW takes an interest in my content and decides to empower me to publish a comprehensive update on the day of the big release alongside a video review of the new book. And in order for that to happen, I would need access to an advanced copy. So just in case there is somebody from GW listening to this, know that I will sign a non-disclosure agreement faster than you can say unutterable secrets of the Black Library. It would be my great delight. But that's probably not going to happen. So here's what to expect from CraftworldEldar.com in the next couple of months. It's going to be a little bit different from how things have been for the last few months. First off, I'm not going to cover any of the alleged leaks. So I've received lots of messages and emails in the last couple of weeks asking me to weigh in on various alleged codex leaks that are floating around right now on the interwebs. I'm not going to do this. I cannot very well ask GW to trust me with an advanced copy of the book or even some partial digital file or something if I am publicizing possible leaks on my site and channel. And it might also be completely naive of me to think that I have a Storm Guardian's chance and a Gene Stealer's Swarm of GW letting me see any part of the book ahead of its release. But I would nevertheless prefer not to alienate the company whose games are the subject of my content. So, no judgment at all for those of you who are eagerly scouring the interwebs for information, but I'm not going to do it here. Not going to talk about it. Second thing, videos published between now and the arrival of the new codex will, for the most part, not focus on current codex content. I will keep producing videos, and I will do so at a good rate, but I am going to lean into content that will still be relevant after the new codex arrives. This will include general tactical / list building advice. I might do a video about deployment, sort of general stuff about how to get better as a 40K player. But unit focus videos, if I do any of those, will probably exclusively deal with Forge World models. Although I do have a sneaking suspicion that it's possible that we'll actually see some changes to the Forge World stuff with the new codex. I'm just guessing, but nevertheless, I think that the stuff in Imperial Armor is likely to stay pretty consistent, and so I'll do some videos about Forge World units. I also may break down and do a video about the Night Spinner because I haven't done one yet, and I think it's one of our best units in the current meta. I might just not be able to stop myself, but for the most part, I will not be doing unit-focused videos on codex units. Videos related to lore are suddenly going to be a go. For the most part, this website is focused on tactical play at the table, and there are lots of great channels out there doing lore. If you are not already subscribing to Luton or Luton09, or he is just fantastic. I think he's making some of maybe the best lore videos on the internet right now. But they're really broad based. He makes videos about everything, and his production quality is really high. So it takes a while for a new video to come out, and so there isn't a ton of stuff about CraftworldEldar. I may do a general like CraftworldEldar lore for beginners video, and maybe I'll do a rundown of some of the Black Library stuff. But there'll be some lore videos. There might even be one insanely self-indulgent foray into fiction or something. I don't know, but I will lean into the narrative aspect of the game a little bit for the next few months with my content while we wait for new rules. I think most of you autarchs out there who are consuming this content are going to find it increasingly difficult to be interested in analysis of codex units when it feels like maybe the new release is right around the corner, and so that content would be obsolete a few weeks after I made it anyway, hopefully. Okay, third thing for 2022. Chapter Approved is coming out. There was a GW-sanctioned Grand Tournament in Texas last week that already was using new rules from the upcoming Grand Tournament 2022 mission pack. And you can, if you Googled that, or you go over to Goonhammer, they have some really good coverage on information from the Grand Tournament 2022 mission pack that's not out yet, but nevertheless, GW is clearly not trying to hide because they're using it at big tournaments. So that's going to change the game in a big way. It's clear that the new rules for matched play will have a significant impact on how primary objectives play out, and also a bunch of the secondary objectives have changed, and so that will obviously be a major tactical consideration for Eldar. Now, when we get our codex, we'll get some presumably faction-specific secondaries, and the way that some of our units play those secondaries will obviously change. But nevertheless, when Chapter Approved 2022 does actually come out, even if we don't have the new codex yet, I will do major coverage of that. Well, the same way I did when 2021 came out, we'll go through and talk about which secondaries are most viable for us, how to think about the new primary rules, and I think a lot of those general principles will continue to apply even after we do see the new codex. Fourth thing to expect in 2022. When the new codex arrives, obviously, I will overhaul everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Over on my website, some of my most popular content remains the strategy guides on the website. I have strategy guides called things like how to build a Craft Worlds list for Warhammer 40k and our best units and how to use them. I've made corresponding videos. Honestly, some of that information has gotten a little bit dated, and I do feel regularly guilty about that. But I updated it. I did a big update early in 9th edition, and I've kept kicking another update back to the codex. And to be fair, I was maybe a little bit more optimistic about the time frame for the arrival of the codex than has turned out to be the case. So had I known, 7 months ago, I would have rewritten some of those. But when the new codex drops in the relatively near future, I will rewrite all of that content. In addition, I will do a gleeful first impression video, presuming I don't have any early access to the book. At the very least, I will do a gleeful first impressions video, and maybe I will open a bottle of champagne on camera while flipping through the first few pages and muttering empty sympathies in the general direction of the now doomed Imperium of Man. That might happen. But I will eventually, once I've had time to get a bunch of models on the table and try out the different faction rules and play around with whatever is in the codex, I will begin the arduous process of updating everything on the channel too. So all of the unit focus videos will obviously need to be remade. Our best units and how to use them, all of it will get a total overhaul. Now, in the unlikely event that we do in fact live in one of the small handful of possible worlds in which I am allowed access to an advanced copy of the codex or a partial copy, I will have much of that essential content ready to go on release day, and I will share it if so, with the jubilant enthusiasm of a unicorn bestowing magical horn boinks on wounded heroes. And all of you who have stuck with Craftworlds through the last 2 years are wounded heroes in my estimation. But what is much more likely is that I will see the new book at the same time as everyone else, and it will take me some time to get essential core content up to date, because I don't want to just totally shoot from the hip and make guesses about what will be good. I'll do a little bit of that in sort of an overall intro video, but I really do need to, like any of the rest of you, I'll need to play it a bunch to really figure out what makes the most sense. My hope is that so many things will make sense, right, that it'll be more a matter of identifying the 2 or 3 units that aren't terribly competitive and talking about how all of the other ones really are, but how they fit in different lists in different ways, rather than zeroing in on the 7 units that are viable. And I really think I think it's going to be the other way. Most of the factions that have had 9th edition codexes, GW has done a spectacular job, not only in making the vast majority of what's in the codex viable in competitive play, at least in some lists, but also making the flavor of the units on the table match the fluff better than I think it ever has in any edition of 40K. And so I'm expecting great things. And so maybe the content, the particular way that I organize the videos will be a little bit different. It might not, our best units and how to use them might not just be a rundown of our 8 best units or something. It might be very different. Hopefully it will. Okay, fifth and final thing for 2022, and this is a now thing. I am officially announcing a couple of new ways to support the channel. I am launching a Patreon. So it will be very basic to start with. I'm going to link it in the description of this video. And at the moment, there's only one level. I'm going to keep it very inexpensive. It's called Aspect Warrior. And those of you who sign up to kick roughly the value of a pint my way per month will get early access to videos and blog posts. Once there are enough of you, if there are ever enough of you, I might also introduce occasional polls where you get to vote on what video I will make next. If this takes off and there's real enthusiasm for the Patreon, I may eventually introduce other levels, but I'm hesitant to put any of the core content behind a paywall. In fact, I'm not going to put any core content behind a paywall. So I currently haven't worked out what higher levels could reasonably look like. And it seems premature since I don't have any Patreon supporters yet. But Patreon is happening. I will link it. Also, the affiliates program, which I have mentioned a couple of times in other videos, that is up and running. It is finally working. I'm going to post a link also in this video to Saga Concepts, a company that produces, in the United States doesn't produce, sells 40K models. They're a real game store. They're real people. They love the game. They're nice. They have a pretty large stock at any given time. And obviously you should be supporting your local game store, that should be your first priority. But for those of you who either don't have a local game store, or maybe every now and then, if they don't have something in stock and you want to support the channel, you could order something through Saga Concepts instead, and the channel gets a small kickback. And so that would be great too. So there it is. If you have thoughts about additional content that you would like to see on the blog or the channel in 2022, or in this weird in-between time while we wait for the codex, please feel free to leave a comment below. Please also click like on the video if you like the channel. And I'm going to just head a few of you off. And for those of you who are already cracking your knuckles and writing, what I'd really like to see is battle reports. Here is the deal with battle reports. Me too, right? That would be great. But first off, there are lots of people making very professional looking battle reports right now for YouTube. And at this point, even though Craftworlds might not be immediately the most competitive faction, or that is right now the most competitive faction in the game, nevertheless, there are a bunch of battle reports by reputable people involving Craftworlds lists, and you can find some linked. If you go to my, I think even on my channel, I've got a YouTube playlist with a recent one linked, maybe from Scary. But if you head over to my website and you go to Through the Webway, the links section, I have a bunch of Craftworlds battle reports linked that have a pretty good production value. I would love to do some, But I think, first off, when the new codex drops, everybody and their sister will be making these things. And so you maybe, I'm not sure that I would necessarily be adding a lot of new content. And also, if I do battle reports, I want them to look as good, at least as good as the other reasonably professional ones out there. And to do that, I would need a local person volunteering to be a camera operator and better sound equipment and somebody willing to do some sophisticated overlay editing with current scores. And so those are all obstacles that I haven't figured out yet. And so videos are not imminent, but hopefully at some point I will add some videos to the content. So there it is. Like the rest of you, I am full of pointy-eared anticipation for the new codex. I'm very excited about 2022. And I do want to say thank you to all of you who have been supporting the channel either since it got started or in recent months. Your likes and comments and feedback have not only kept me excited about doing this, but helped me get even more excited about investing in it more seriously, which I've been doing. So I'm looking forward to putting up some new videos soon, and hopefully I will hear from some of you in the content below. Thanks, guys. That's it for today. Take care.